All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to True Crime Loser. I hope you're doing well. So, folks, today we're going to talk about Robin Niceta. It's a big week for old Niceta. In 3 days, Friday of this week, February 9th, Robin Niceta is set to be sentenced. This is a dangerous woman, and we're going to see if she's going to prison or not. The excitement and anticipation has got me buzzing all week. I've been going, ba-na-na-na-na-dun-dun, Niceta. Ba-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Ba-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. The swim is an underrated dance move. But all right, let me totally set this up, people, because this is the definition of one for the books. Just a few short years ago, Robin Niceta was a respected social worker in Aurora, Colorado. She worked for the Department of Human Services in the Child Abuse Department. At the time, she's dating the chief of police for the entire town, Chief Vanessa Wilson. Most people will never have or date someone that has that much literal power, and they were living the power couple lifestyle. Robin Niceta was going to fundraisers with her police chief girlfriend. Hi, I'm Robin Niceta. Robin Niceta was standing behind her police chief girlfriend as the police chief gave passionate speeches behind a podium. And then a year ago, a councilwoman for the same town made an appearance on the Tubbs morning radio show. And the councilwoman and Tubbs were talking about how crime was skyrocketing. What is the police force doing? Man, that new police chief, Vanessa Wilson, is really blowing it. She's trash. She should resign. And police chiefs are going to be criticized. It's just part of the gig. But Robin Niceta did not take it well that a councilwoman went on the Tubbs morning radio show and criticized her girlfriend. And the day after the Tubbs appearance from the councilwoman, Robin Niceta made a decision that I would argue thoroughly ruined her life. Robin Niceta decided she was going to get back at that councilwoman for criticizing her girlfriend on the Tubbs show by calling in an anonymous tip that the councilwoman molests her son. And Niceta, she made the anonymous tip, which then, she called her own work. That's where she worked. She worked at the Department of Human Services in the Child Abuse Department. So she called her own work and left this anonymous tip pretending to be an employee of a restaurant that the councilwoman owns. And that launched a 2-week demeaning, intrusive child abuse investigation into the poor councilwoman. And after 2 weeks of investigating, it was so obvious that there was no child abuse happening that immediately the people that were looking into it thought, something is going on here. We got to look into who made that anonymous tip because there is just obviously no child abuse happening. The councilwoman seems like a great mom. For 2 weeks, we were all up in her business. We got to look into who put this tip in. And so they look into it, and it comes up the chief of police's girlfriend, Robin Niceta. So she's charged with 2 counts. One is making a false, attempting to influence a public servant, and 1 count of making false report of child abuse. So she's charged 2 serious charges, and everything slows way down, and she lawyers up, and they're marching slowly through the pretrial stuff, heading towards trial for these 2 serious counts, when all of a sudden a bombshell motion gets filed by Robin Niceta's defense that says Robin Niceta is not well. She has a brain tumor. It's aggressive. It's totally affecting her. It doesn't even look like she's going to be well enough to face these charges. This whole thing might have to be put on hold until we figure out the whole brain tumor thing. And so everything was moving forward. All right, we're going to trial. This is crazy. The police chief's girlfriend is being charged for trying to get the councilwoman's kids taken away. This is crazy. And then all of a sudden, it was going a totally different direction, and there's medical records from an oncology practice in New Mexico oncology, from a doctor, Dr. C. Marquez, saying, yeah, it's real bad, brain tumor, the whole thing, it's affecting her behavior in ways that it can, and it's just a sad situation. But then calls and letters start coming into the judge. I don't think this whole brain tumor thing is real, because if you Google the type of brain tumor she's claiming to have, the first picture on Google Images is the picture she turned in that's supposedly her brain tumor. And then they start looking into more of it, and New Mexico Oncology, where she's been being treated for this horrible brain tumor, doesn't exist. And the website for New Mexico Oncology was just made like 2 days before. And so, hey, what about this cancer doctor, Dr. C. Marquez? Well, they looked into him. He doesn't exist. Niceta and her mom created the whole thing. They made the website for New Mexico Oncology. They created the Dr. C. Marquez, all of the medical records, and everything was totally fake. So Niceta and her mom get charged for that. So once Niceta deals with the whole thing for the making the false child abuse claim and everything, her mom and her have a whole nother case for trying to fake the brain tumor to get out of these serious charges. And so the lawyers that put in the big brain tumor bombshell motion, they recused themselves. I think they were embarrassed because they spearheaded the hold the presses, our client has a brain tumor. And then it was like, no, she really doesn't. And Niceta did TV interviews during the time when she was pretending to have a brain tumor, where she sat next to her mom like this. This was her attempt, sitting like this, to appear like she has a brain tumor. Imagine Niceta in the mirror in her bathroom being like, all right, how do I look like I have a brain tumor so I can get out of these serious charges? So I do this, maybe like a little hand right here. She just like is dialing in her look. The whole thing is totally crazy. And so I was wondering, is it gonna be like an Arthur Knight? I am Arthur Knight. Why does no one believe me? Where he continues to pretend even though he's sort of been called out? Or is it gonna be more like a Chandler Halderson, that once he was arrested and everything, he didn't pretend anymore. It just all disappeared. And that's what happened with Robin Niceta. She got new lawyers, and all of a sudden, no one was talking about the brain tumor that was diagnosed by C. Marquez. It's just all gone, other than she's being charged for it. But then I was thinking, oh my God, what if Casey Anthony's imaginary nanny, Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez, married Robin Niceta's imaginary cancer doctor, C. Marquez, and became Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez Marquez? This is all getting out of hand. But anyway, so the trial happened. When I posted a video about Niceta 7 months ago, and it had the whole thing up to she had just been called out about faking a brain tumor. That's not true. So the trial happened, which was also hilarious. The case against Niceta was a text message from the chief, Vanessa Wilson, saying, the councilwoman went on Tubbs and really criticized me. So that was the first piece of evidence they say. So see, she knew about that appearance. She got a text. And then Niceta Googled the restaurant that she was going to claim to be an employee at. She Googled the councilwoman's restaurant to get the name, which was, doesn't matter, but JJ's Place. And then she Googled, does the anonymous tip line at the child abuse, does that hotline save numbers? So she Googled that, and then she tried to block her number using *67, which didn't work, and Also, she Googled both of those things on her work laptop that was given to her by the county and used her phone. So she Googled, all right, so she's getting ready. All right, I'm going to call in. I'm going to call my own work, and I'm going to put an anonymous little tip that this councilwoman is abusing her kids. Okay, so first, using her work laptop, she Googles, what's the name of the councilwoman's restaurant? Oh, yeah. All right. Okay, and now, do they save numbers when you make an anonymous tip? I wonder what answer she got. She still made the call. Then she goes, I'm really gonna get them when I block my number with *67. Again, didn't work. Ba-na-na-na-na-dun-dun. Niceta. And so she makes the fateful call. Hi, I'm an employee at the councilwoman's restaurant, and you wouldn't believe what I saw. She makes the call. And pretty funny, you know what her defense was? So that was the case against her. Her defense was, it was the police chief, Vanessa Wilson, that makes the call. So her lawyers tried to make the case that it was actually the ex-police chief, Niceta's ex-girlfriend, that in fact made the call, even though that it came from Niceta's phone and all of the Googling in preparation of the big call. And a little bit of a funny thing is there was not one piece of evidence or witness that supported her defense, which is that Robin didn't make the call. It was the ex-police chief. Not one piece of evidence was submitted or not one witness was called to back up the claim. So, as you can imagine, not a great defense. You don't have one witness? No. Hey, all right. Well, that's all right. Do you have any evidence? You got like some good solid evidence to put in? No, not really. All right. Well, hey, listen, good luck with all of that. And after a whole year of wondering what the hell is going to happen with this one, November, just a couple months ago, she was found guilty, and then she was supposed to be sentenced January 19th. Last month. It got postponed because apparently her lawyer was sick, and now here we are, finally the big sentencing week. It's this Friday. I can't wait to see what happens. And the thing with this one is, with a lot of the cases that end up getting talked about, once the person is found guilty, convicted, they're just going to get a lot of jail time because that's a lot of the cases that get followed. With this one, she's really only facing, I think, 5-6 years. So it could be no jail time. It could be 7 years. Obviously, her defense attorneys are fighting furiously and frantically to get the no jail time to keep Niceta out of jail. But what if she gets 7 years? I mean, that is wild. But let me just tell a couple stories to really ram home. This is a dangerous woman. One of them, which doesn't even get talked about because the whole trying to get the councilwoman's kids taken away and the brain tumor hilarity, all of that overshadows. There's another wild Niceta story from before all this happened where she's dating the police chief and Niceta calls law enforcement and goes, my ex-girlfriend just broke into my house and hit me over the head and I went unconscious because I was hit so hard. It's like, wait a second, your ex-girlfriend who you happen to be in a messy separation with just home invaded you and hit you over the head? And Niceta's going, yeah. And the police chief hears that her girlfriend was just attacked by her ex and rushes an arrest warrant for Niceta's ex through. Someone that watched the whole process said it was the fastest they've ever seen the whole arrest warrant process happened. Everybody's head was spinning that the process went so fast. They arrested Niceta's ex-girlfriend. That's still, I can't imagine the just feeling of horror being in handcuffs, in custody, going, wait a second, this is all nonsense. I'm in a messy separation with this Niceta woman, she's dating the police chief, and now here I am in handcuffs in custody. Well, the charges got dropped because it was all total nonsense, and the ex who got arrested for total nonsense ended up suing the police chief and the city. So that story right there alone is totally mind-blowing. And then another in between her going to trial for the false child abuse claim on the anonymous phone line, another story came out where Robin Niceta, she's a social worker, she's working with these families, and she calls up one of the families, or she calls up this woman that she's working with as her social worker and goes, hey, I got some gift cards, I think it could help you out, you can use them for food or diapers, whatever you need, I think it'd really help you out. And the woman who thinks she's getting a call from her social worker with some gift cards to help her out financially goes, yes, great. Anything and everything could help. And Robin Niceta says, okay, I'll swing by your place. I'll give you these gift cards. And when she gets there, Niceta makes a move on the woman. And the woman goes, what are you doing? I thought you were just here to do the gift cards. And Niceta wanted to hook up with her. And when the woman refused, I don't want to hook up with you, Niceta made she tried everything that she could do. Once the woman turned her down and didn't want to hook up with her, she did everything in her power, which as a social worker, she did have some, to get this woman's kids taken away from her. So this picture of Niceta emerges as a sexual predator that was using her power from the Department of Human Services to get away with the whole thing. And then more stories. Hey, yeah, she tried to take my kids away for no reason. And then another one. And then all of a sudden, there's a 40-person class action lawsuit against Robin Niceta that refers to her as a family destroyer. It's like, what? And so she's dealing with, imagine how you would have to conduct yourself and for how long you would have to conduct yourself before there's 40 people suing you and everybody's calling you a family destroyer. That really is something else. And also in between that, the councilwoman sued her and won. In between her actually going to trial for what she's being sentenced for Friday, the councilwoman won. Niceta has to pay the councilwoman $3 million. And then there's the 40 people suing her. That's probably going to be expensive. She lost her social worker job. She's about ready to possibly do years in prison for an anonymous child abuse claim against the councilwoman. She tried to fake brain cancer. She's charged for that. I'm telling you, this is a dangerous woman. We're going to see how it all plays out on Friday. I can't wait. Ba-na-na-na-na-dun-dun. Niceta. All right, I'm going to cut it off there. I love you all. Why? Stabin' why? Shamidi.